Guys, it's Cody from Fungicopia, and today I'm out hunting the Black Morels, and this is Morchella angusticeps. We tend to find them before the white and the blonde morels start to appear, but this year I actually found blondes and whites before the blacks came out. And so today we're out hunting in some poplar and ash forests. These guys really like sandy soil. They're not a huge proponent of black nutritious soil. You can see the sand in this stuff. So a lot of the time you're going to find these guys growing with big leaf aspen, poplar. I find them with spruce occasionally. And they usually tend to show up earlier in May, but this year they're a little bit late. We've had a really kind of a cool spring. So I think it's May 19th or something right now, or May 20th. And we're just starting to find them really now. I found one last week, but so yeah, I'll show you guys some cool stuff. This little guy we'll take back to the lab and we'll clone it. So normally you should either break them or cut them. But yeah, we're going to actually take this small little sample back here from the base. Normally you want to leave the base so that the mycelium isn't damaged, but we're going to take this back so I can clone it and get it on agar. You can see there's some mycelium in there. So here we've got three little beauties, two small ones and a big papa. And the big distinguishing features for Morchella angusticeps are sort of this triangular cap. And sometimes when you get them smaller, you'll get like more of a rounded cap, or some of the deformed ones will have more of a sort of rounded edge on them rather than the pointed tip. But you can see that these nice honeycomb sort of shaped pores. Inside these, there's actually morels are kind of unique in the way that they actually jet projectile their spores. So they, unlike other spore-bearing fungi, they don't just drop them on the air currents and let them float. They actually shoot them in different directions out of these little pockets. Wow, that's a beautiful one. These guys are actually growing with a balsam fir. And so this is definitive proof. There's actually a couple more over here as well. There is no ash, there's no aspen, no poplar around here. There's the second one down there. And, oh, there's another third one down there too. So there's four growing with this one fir. And so that's a definitive host for the Morchella angusticeps. And they really like sandy soil, these guys. That's the number one thing I've noticed with these. The blondes and the yellows, I'll find them more in deciduous forests with, you know, thick, leafy, dark soil. But these Morchella angusticeps are definitely more of a sandy soil lover. You'll find them on the sides of hills. They don't really like slopes all that much. This one's kind of growing on a gradual slope. But most of the time we find them growing sort of at the base of a hill or sort of a depression slightly, or flat grounds. So yeah, that's a nice beautiful one right there. So these two guys are growing with a big leaf aspen as well. Right in the side of a bank here. Two little... guys growing out of moss right next to balsam. So yeah, balsam's definitely something to keep your eyes out for, guys. You don't really hear that much from anyone. I've always been told hardwoods is the place to go, but you can see this little guy here is the smallest morel I've ever seen. Just a baby. I'll put my finger in here for reference for you. So you can see that is pretty darn tiny, eh guys? Beautiful little family of them. Alright guys, so I've stumbled into a beautiful little morel paradise here, and we're growing all next to balsam here. Typically in a season, I find them with balsam and big leaf aspen, but I have found them with maple before in the past. There's another big one over there. And there's a couple growing under the moss. And so these guys, you'll always find them growing gregariously, or quite often anyways. Very seldom do I find just one. There's usually, you know, at least 2 or 3. So when you do find them, kind of poke around and have a look for some more, because there's usually some more hiding right in plain sight. And then once your eyes tend to lock into them, you'll find lots more. So what I do, when I find the first morel, especially with morels, they tend to blend into the ground really well. I always like stare at it for like 5-10 minutes. I know that sounds crazy, but when you do, your eyes kind of get tuned to the color and the shape, and you'll see them a lot easier than you would if you just kind of like run through the woods. And take your time with morels when you're out morel hunting, because speedy pickers tend to miss all sorts of them. Like in this one spot I'm in right now, there's probably 20, 25. And you know, if I just kind of marched past, they're very small, these ones, so I would probably miss them. But what you do is when you find one, you want to kind of meticulously search the area and see if you've got any more. And these guys, they're a May mushroom in my region. In the States, in the southern states, moving up, you can get them, you know, in the start of April. I've even heard of at the end of March. But up here, we don't tend to get them till about the second week of May. Sometimes the first week, but you know, it's always different every year depending on the conditions. And this year's been a really strange one. It's, you know, we've got blacks coming out now, and I just harvested some yellows and some whites last week, which is very strange. Usually the blacks are the first true morel to come out, so you can see why it's really important to take your time with these guys. If you see these two little guys, down here, they're completely covered by brush and leaves. But once you get down in there, you can see there's 3 big juicy ones right there. So you really have to be meticulous with your searching. There's another one over there, and there's another one right there. So, oh, there's another one right there. So you definitely take your time, guys. When you find one, really have a good search around, because more than likely you're going to see a couple more. And yeah, my biggest tip for morels is definitely get out after the rains. These guys are a sac fungi, so they really need moisture in order to swell up. And if you don't get the moisture in your spring, you just might not get morels. They're completely dependent on that. So wish for rain, and I wish that you have a great morel season.